Have you ever been so involved in a topic, like really dug in deep, that you know it forward, backwards, like you know this topic? And then you happen to be sitting in an audience and there's a speaker, an expert on the topic, that they're going through everything and you're in there with them. And then all of a sudden they happen to drop a term or an acronym and you end up looking like this. Now, I've brought up some topics or concepts in the past, whether it be to small groups or big groups, and I've asked, does anybody need me to explain it a little further? Because it might be a strange topic or something out of the norm that we're used to, and it's not often that I get a hand raised saying, you know what, I need you to help me out a little bit, even though I'm getting a bit of the Pratt look. Yeah, that's a term now. Before we go too much further in this, please promise me, and I know I'm going to make the promise to you as well, if I'm ever in that situation and I'm not exactly sure, I'm going to be one of those people raising my hands, and I hope you'll make that promise as well. Because I know you want to get better, you want to know these topics so you understand it better. And really, nobody's going to think less of you for raising your hand. And you know what? If somebody does think less of you, who cares? Who is they anyways? I'll tell you what, there's going to be a lot more people in the audience that are thanking you because they were scared to raise their hand and they were in the same position you were, but you were brave enough to ask that question. One of the topics where I've seen that Pratt look, yeah, I told you, it's a term now, has been NPS or Net Promoter Score. So what do you say we jump into it?
Guess who's back?
So back in 2003, Fred Reichheld and a team at Bain & Company, they wanted a new way to look at how a company's doing, but not in the traditional sense. They wanted to see how the company was doing in the minds of their customers. Up to this point, companies were using CSAT, or customer satisfaction numbers, to really gauge where they stood. But these metrics, they really didn't do anything to drive a company's behavior. So what Reichheld and his team found out was there was really one question that really correlated into what the customer was thinking and what they were doing. And you've all probably heard the question before but didn't realize it was the NPS question or the Net Promoter Score question. And the question's real simple. It's how likely are you to recommend this company to your family, friends, and colleagues? The higher the score on this metric, the greater the likelihood that this customer is going to buy from you again, they're going to buy more things from you, and the more apt they are to reach out to their friends and family and give feedback about you. I was lucky enough to hear Mr. Reichheld speak back in March of 2013, and one thing that really stood out to me was something that he brought up. He said, when a customer is recommending you, they're sticking their neck out for you. Their reputation is on the line. That's why this question is so powerful. So let's dig into the weeds a little bit here to explain exactly what the metric is and how we go about it, the methodology behind it. So a company asks the NPS question and has their customer rank them from a scale of 0 to 10. 0 being not likely at all, 10 being extremely likely to recommend them. And then we take those customers and we start grouping them together by how they rank us. If they ranked us a 0 to 6, those folks are known as detractors. 7s and 8s, they're passives. And the 9s and 10s, those are your promoters. So let's talk about those detractors, people ranking 0 to 6. These are people that are going to hurt your brand. They're going to be giving feedback about you to their friends, family, probably jumping on social media, and they're going to do everything they can to hurt your brand. The numbers show that 80% of negative word of mouth come from this group of people, the detractors. And next we have those passives, the people that scored 7s and 8s. And I know before digging into any of this a while back, I always thought when I gave an 8 to somebody that they were doing a great job. But that's not what this metric says. Yeah, these people are happy, but they're passively happy. You did what you said you were going to do, and that's it. So they're happy. And yeah, they're happy, but the research shows that when it comes to referring you or buying from you again, they're 50% less likely to do so than promoters. So our promoters, they're the people giving 9s and 10s. They're our raving fans. They love us. We did everything right by them. These folks account for more than 80% of referral for most businesses. All right, we've dug in the weeds, but now let's dig deeper. Let's get into the math.
Math is a really cool thing. So get off your act, let's do some math. Math.
The way we work out the math for this metric is you take the overall percentage of your promoters and you take the overall percentage of your detractors. I didn't mention anything about the passives. We throw them out. So what we do with the detractors, we take that percentage, we subtract it from the promoters, and there's your NPS. Let's just go through a couple of examples so you know what I'm talking about. We send out 10 surveys. 6 people respond 10s. They're extremely happy. 3 people give you an 8. Good, but we talked about them being passive. And 1 of them gives you a 6. Overall, this group of folks, it seems like things are going pretty well. But let's get rid of those passives like we talked about earlier. So we have 6 10s, or 60% promoters, and we have 1 6, 10% detractors. You take that 10% from the 60, and you're left with a 50 NPS. So let's look at the next example. Same 10 surveys sent, but what we're going to do is we're going to move 1 of those passives up to a promoter. So before we had 6 10s, and then we had 3 8s. Let's move that 8 to a 9. So now we have 7 promoters, 2 passives, and 1 detractor. So we have 70% are now promoters. We remove from that the 10% detractors. We now have a 60 NPS. So a couple of things stand out to me. First things first, those detractors, they really hurt our numbers. They pull us down from all that good work we're doing. And not only is it just bringing down a number, because that's all it is a number, but they're bringing down our brands. They're bringing down our companies. Another thing that stands out to me are those passives. Yeah, they're happy, and they're really not doing much to promote us right now, but they're that close. If we wow them just a little bit more, who knows? Maybe they start telling their friends and family. They start buying more from us. I hope this helps those of you who had any questions about NPS or Net Promoter Score. What I'll do is I'll attach a link down below just to give you some resources about Mr. Reichheld and the history of NPS and whatnot. Now, for one, I know I'm not going to be sitting with that Pratt look anymore. If I ever have a question when somebody's speaking, I'm going to be raising my hand, and I hope you do the same. JB out. What? Get that out.